Have you ever wondered if the legendary lost city of Atlantis was real? For thousands of years, this question has captivated explorers, historians, and dreamers alike. But what if the answer has been hiding in plain sight all along? The story of Atlantis comes to us from the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who described it in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. According to Plato, Atlantis was a mighty naval power located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. It was an island larger than Libya and Asia combined, a utopian civilization with astonishing technological advancements, magnificent architecture, and immense wealth. The Atlanteans were said to be descendants of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Their capital city was a marvel of engineering, a series of concentric rings of land and water connected by canals and bridges, with a grand temple to Poseidon at its very center. For 9,000 years before Plato's time, this incredible civilization supposedly flourished. They were a noble and powerful people. But as time went on, their divine nature weakened. Greed and ambition corrupted their society. They waged an unjust war against Athens and the rest of the known world. In a single, terrible day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis was swallowed by the sea and disappeared, punished by the gods for its hubris. It's a dramatic tale, but was it just a story? Plato was a philosopher, and many scholars believe Atlantis was a cautionary tale, a fictional allegory he created to illustrate his ideas about the ideal state versus a corrupt one. He might have been using Atlantis as a literary device to warn against the dangers of imperial ambition and moral decay. After all, no other ancient texts from Plato's time or before mention a city called Atlantis. The entire legend begins, and, for a long time, ends with him. But what if Plato wasn't just making it all up? What if his story was inspired by a real historical event, a memory of a catastrophe that echoed through the ages? This is where our investigation takes a fascinating turn, leading us from philosophy to archaeology and geology. One of the most compelling theories connects the myth of Atlantis to the volcanic eruption of Thera, a Greek island we now know as Santorini. Around 1600 B.C., a colossal volcanic eruption, one of the largest in human history, blew the island apart. This cataclysmic event triggered massive tsunamis that would have devastated coastal communities across the Mediterranean. On Santorini, archaeologists have unearthed the remarkably well-preserved Bronze Age settlement of Akrotiri. This wasn't a primitive village. It was a sophisticated Minoan city with multi-story buildings, advanced plumbing, and stunning frescoes depicting a vibrant and prosperous society. The city was buried in volcanic ash, Pompeii style, preserving a snapshot of life just before the disaster. The people of Akrotiri were traders, artists, and sailors. Sound familiar? The parallels are striking. A highly advanced island civilization connected to the sea that suddenly vanishes in a natural disaster. The Minoan civilization, which was centered on the nearby island of Crete, was a dominant sea power in the region. The eruption of Thera and the subsequent tsunamis would have crippled the Minoan fleet and their coastal cities, contributing to their eventual decline. Could the story of the Minoan collapse, passed down through generations for over 1,000 years, have reached Plato in a distorted form? The timeline doesn't match perfectly. Plato spoke of 9,000 years, not 1,200, but oral traditions often exaggerate numbers over time. And Plato's description of the location beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar, has led many to search for Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean. But to the ancient Greeks, the Pillars of Hercules could have referred to other straits within the Mediterranean. Over the centuries, the search for Atlantis has become a global obsession. Some have looked for it near the Bahamas, citing the mysterious underwater rock formation known as the Bimini Road. Others have pointed to a submerged plateau in the Atlantic called the Azores, or even proposed that Atlantis was in Antarctica, now buried under miles of ice. From Spain to the Caribbean, countless locations have been proposed, each with its own set of supposed evidence, but none have held up to scientific scrutiny. These theories often rely on misinterpreting geological formations or taking speculative texts as fact. Unlike these fringe theories, the Santorini connection is grounded in real archaeological and geological evidence. While Akrotiri wasn't a continent-sized empire, the memory of its sudden and violent end could easily have grown into the grand legend Plato recorded. It embodies the core elements of the myth, a sophisticated island society destroyed by the power of nature. The story serves as a powerful reminder of how civilizations can disappear in the blink of an eye. So, was Atlantis a real place? The answer is likely no, not in the literal way Plato described it. There was probably never a massive continent in the Atlantic that sank beneath the waves. But the myth of Atlantis? That is very real. It's a story that has endured for millennia because it speaks to our deepest hopes and fears. Our fascination with lost golden ages, our quest for utopia, and our anxiety about the fragility of our own civilization in the face of nature's might. Perhaps the real lost city isn't one we can find with sonar or satellite imagery. Perhaps the true Atlantis is a powerful idea, a myth that teaches us about the consequences of arrogance and the enduring power of storytelling. The legend of Atlantis is a puzzle box of history, philosophy, and geology. Whether you see it as a fable, a distorted memory of the Minoan catastrophe, or still hold out hope for a lost continent, the quest for Atlantis tells us more about ourselves than it does about any sunken city. It reveals our own desire to believe in the extraordinary, to uncover the secrets of the past, and to learn from its lessons. What do you think? Is Atlantis a myth, a memory, or a mystery still waiting to be solved? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's greatest legends. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the unknown. See you next time.